How We Heard It, the podcast about music, pop culture, movies, and more, with your hosts, Wayne Bledsoe and Chuck Campbell.
Bledsoe and
John Baker.
Shikami, that is a hi in Albanian to our listener or two that we've got over in Albania, a tiny little country or a small country in Europe on the northern border of Greece. I've always been interested in this country for whatever reason. They're famous for their cherries, and I love cherries, so, good enough.
Well, you mentioned Albania, and it reminds me of a favorite movie of mine, Wag the Dog, which is fairly prescient for our times now, but it's about a president who's trying to hide some embarrassing thing, and so he gets a team together and they create a fake war in Albania, and they assemble a cast of people to come up with different parts of it, and like Willie Nelson is supposed to write a song for the thing, and he just kind of wanders through the scenes, kind of humming songs with his guitar. It's a really funny movie, and it's really good too.
All right. So today, for episode 102, we're going to do dumb movies, stupid movies. I'm not sure what we decided on, but goofy movies, movies that may be comedies or may not be comedies that we are not embarrassed to say that we like, even though there's no glory in saying you like these movies.
Well, we took it slightly differently because you and John both went with comedies.
Yeah.
And I went with
and you
movies
got to be different.
That are it was just what I thought when we were discussing it was I was thinking of movies that are kind of bad or too campy or over the top.
Yeah. You got some good ones,
and I've got a bunch of stuff that's comedies too.
Yeah, we appreciate your perspective.
And as we've discussed, you and I have a shared affinity for music that's so bad it's good. So I think that aesthetic applies to movies as well.
Well, and some of these are some of the things that I put down are not even necessarily that bad. They're just so campy.
Right.
I mean, the first one that I came up with is The Bad Seed.
Okay.
Which is about a little homicidal maniac girl. It was filmed in 1956. And it's one of John Waters' favorite films. It was me and my sister used to watch it together every time it came on television. But and it was a stage play. And it's very obvious when you're watching the movie that it was a stage play because all the dialogue is very stagey. But this little girl has killed one of her classmates with her shoe, hitting him over the head so she could steal his medal and then drown him.
It sounds like a comedy.
It's absolutely.
Well, it was quite disturbing to people in the 50s, though, right?
Right, yeah. So they had to even put a little disclaimer at the end to say that it wasn't real. They showed the little actress come out and showed that she's not a homicidal maniac, and they actually, like, the mother spanks her at the end of it, which is not appropriate.
That's it, a spanking.
But
it became kind of like a comfort movie for you and your sister?
Yeah, absolutely. Every time it comes on Turner Classic Movies, I wind up watching it to the end because it is so much fun.
Was there any famous actor in this movie? Or?
No, Patsy Kelly is the most famous person, and she's like the mother of the boy that the little girl killed.
Okay. And,
yeah, I mean, there's nobody that's in it that became a big name, I don't think. But... and little Patty McCormick is the girl who plays the little girl, and she was in a few movies after that. But
okay.
But anyway, it's so much fun, and you want this little girl to get caught, but it's so much fun watching her be so evil. I mean, she burns up the maintenance man that for their building. She's figured it out. She's got this aunt that just thinks anything she does is perfect. And her mother finally starts figuring out, oh, my little daughter's killing people.
I've got a psychopathic daughter.
I'm going to have to do something about it.
Yeah, well, it turns out the elements, or it's implied that God does something before it's over.
Wow. Well, anyway, we want to do this episode because I believe it's going to coincide with the release of the new Scary Movie.
Right.
The 6th edition of Scary Movie. Scary Movie started in the year 2000, and it was done by Marlon Shawn and Keenan Ivory Wayans. And they had Anna Faris as Cindy and Regina Hall as Brenda in it. And they just spoof horror films, okay? And horror films are kind of ridiculous, almost comedic in their own way. And this came out, like I say, in 2000. They did a few of them, the Wayanses did, and then some other people took it over. They're coming back now. It's been a long time since we've had one. everyone. And I believe that this podcast is going live on the same weekend that it opens. I look forward to it. They made fun of everything from The Exorcist to The Ring to Signs, and just crazy, stupid, dumb humor. And what we're talking about is embrace anything that makes you laugh, unless it's cruel, and don't be an asshole. But
Right.
if it's something that makes you laugh, don't feel ashamed of it. Don't worry about it being déclassé. You don't have to tell everybody if you don't want to. But for me,
if you like it, you like it.
if you like it, you like it. And if you got a chance to laugh, then laugh, you know. So for me, the first movies that I got into that are stupid but dumb humor would have been the absurdist movies that kind of surfaced in the early 80s. I saw the movie Airplane in 1980 as a teenager with my friend Lisa. And we laughed in that whole movie at every line. It's so full of great lines. And just it starred Robert Hayes and Julie Haggerty, but it had a lot of big classic movie stars and everything, and TV stars that were also in it, just doing ridiculous scenes.
And one of the things about it is because they used people who were known for very serious shows and movies, like Peter Graves from Mission Impossible, who was very dry and deadpan, but really funny.
Yeah, and in this, he's a predator.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a pilot, but he's also a little too interested in one of the kids on the plane.
Yeah, and I don't know that people can find that funny now, like they used to. I
mean, you know, I saw, I've listened to a lot of movie podcasts and everything. I've listened to people reviewing it, and they hate it.
Really?
You know, I mean, I've heard some people, you know, they kind of give it credit for it was famous in the time, but they don't understand anything that was supposed to be funny about it.
That's the thing about humor, though. It's so subjective.
Yeah.
I mean, that's maybe one of those litmus tests. For me, Raising Arizona is one of those that's like, I cannot understand somebody that doesn't find that movie funny, but I've had people say, I didn't really get that movie.
But you know, at the outset of that movie, just the plot of, you know, here's a couple that's going to steal a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Holly Hunter, Nick Cage.
And I think it's probably my favorite comedy of all time.
It's one of the funniest movies I can think of.
But I remember at the time people saying, well, this subject is just not funny. I can't laugh at this.
Right.
But
Kidnapping.
that was what was so great about it, is it took something you didn't think you could laugh at and made it so absurd and so human that you did.
Well, you know, listening to some of these podcasts and what they're hating about it, I mean, they're talking about they literally didn't think anything was funny. And I thought the two Girl Scouts fighting in the dive bar in Airplane was hilarious because they're even wearing their uniforms. Yeah. They both have like blonde, curly pigtails like Cindy Brady or whatever, and they just throw punches and everything. I think some of it may be subjective. They don't like that humor, but I think another thing is it's just a generation.
Yeah.
You know, these absurdist movies I'm talking about included, that was a Abrams, Zucker and Zucker movie, Airplane, and they came back in '84 with Top Secret, which starred the late Val Kilmer as a pop star, an American pop star who's performing in Eastern Germany. And he joins the French Resistance.
And all the names of the people.
And all the names of the French Resistance soldiers are, you know, like Latrine and
Cassoulet
and Chocolate Mousse.
Chocolate Mousse.
That was in '84, and they also I think all the Abrams, the three of them did The Naked Gun with Leslie Nielsen in '88.
Priscilla Presley,
yes, and Reggie Jackson trying to kill the Queen Elizabeth.
Well, you know, and I was just thinking about this too. I mean, is at the time these were parodies of things that were popular at the time too. So that probably hurts them too, because Airplane's a parody of Airport.
Yeah. The disaster movie things in the 70s.
Right. And it's like they take it and they turn it on its head and they throw every joke in the world on top of it.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's in that too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's Roger.
The co-pilot.
He's
Roger.
Right. I forgot about that.
The little kid calls him out and says, I know you. You're Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And he goes, no, I'm not kidding. He eventually grabs him by the collar. I'm Roger, the co-pilot, you know. and then when they're dragging him off because he gets food poisoning, and they're dragging him down the aisles, the two co-pilots, and he's got like a basketball shorts on or a jock strap or something. Yeah. So he was always Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
There's so many quotable things in that.
There really are.
In all of those movies.
Yeah, and The Naked Gun, though, I mean, that was a parody of detective shows, police shows, and Police Squad was originally a parody TV show.
Yeah, and Liam Neeson was fantastic.
In the remake.
What's that?
In the remake of
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Naked
I'm
Gun.
sorry. Yeah,
But again,
they
he's
did come
someone who
back.
is always really deadly serious, and it turns out he's got a great sense of humor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
so it was Leslie Nielsen and Liam Neeson. It was last year, I guess, that it came out, and I saw it and thought, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this in 2025. And it was hilarious. He was hilarious. I mean, the opening scene, he's like undercover, I guess, is like a Girl Scout or something like that. So he's wearing this little skirt at this robbery, and he's like in his 60s, and I don't know. It was just all the moments and the scenes and the lines. My friend Lisa and I, like in the first airplane, we were just laughing and laughing, and other people just didn't get it at all.
that's so weird. I mean, I think I was in high school when it came out, or maybe
It was
had just
80.
graduated. Oh, 80. Well, I was not in high school.
No,
But I remember everybody, talking about how funny it was and going to see it and thinking, if you don't get the first joke, you got another one 5 seconds after it.
yeah.
All kinds of sight gags.
Yeah.
Just like it'll be dialogue in the foreground and people
The
beating the
background
crap
stuff.
at each other.
Yeah, I mean, like at the beginning of airplanes, people are rushing through the airport and everything, and you hear these two announcers, a man
Right.
and a woman, who are talking about the white lane, the courtesy phones, and all this stuff back and forth. And then all of a sudden, they start talking back and forth, and they're arguing. And the woman, she finally goes, "I know what this is all about. You want me to have an abortion?" And so
All over the airport.
yeah, all over the airport intercom.
But that's part of it. I mean, that's part of it is the jokes are coming so fast and furious
Yeah.
that you miss certain jokes
Yeah.
because you're laughing at one joke
Yeah.
when the next joke, because the second time I saw it, I was hearing jokes that I hadn't noticed the first time.
I think Lisa and I were the only ones laughing, and it was making people mad.
Well, and
strange.
I think those movies have had an influence too, because one of your recommendations a month or so back was Fackham Hall,
Yep, that's
which is
another
a
one.
send-up of Downton Abbey.
Yep.
And it's obvious that the writers of that have watched all those Zucker, Abraham, and Zucker movies, because there's all kinds of sight gags and
Yeah.
just silly humor.
I hope it brings it back, and that people doing, they're podcasting about movies today understand it now, because it was a big hit in the 80s to have this absurdist kind of parody type movies, and then they sort of faded out. Scary Movie, now that kept going because they're spoofing the horror films. But
with Scary Movie, it's another thing about it is there were always new horror movies coming out, and they were spoofing each type of new horror movie that came out.
I really look forward to what they're going to do now, because there have been a lot of horror movies that have come out since they've done one.
Yeah.
And in their teaser, on the poster for this movie, they've got like people sitting in the theater looking at the camera, which they do for every one of their movies, I believe. All the posters look like that. But one of them's holding up a sign that says, "I'm woke, so I'm broke." And that made me think, how are they going to handle that? Because, the quote unquote, woke guidelines,
Right.
Some of which are great guidelines and some of which are like, I don't know, but so much of what they did was like clearly, cancelable, humor back then that they are doing now. So I'm curious to see how they handle that, and if they're going to just plunge ahead. And because when you're talking about absurdist humor, it's harder to condemn it, than like snide humor or seriousness or whatever.
Right.
But everyone has to draw their own line or what they can tolerate.
Well, it's interesting because when you and I were young, when all three of us were young, pretty much with humor, it was anything goes.
Yeah.
And if you were offended, it was kind of get over it.
Yeah.
And
I remember fat jokes everywhere in everything, in every movie, in every TV show, and everybody laughed, including the overweight people.
Yeah.
And I can't say no one thought about it, because I imagine it probably was really scarring to be overweight and hear people making fun of you for something that you may have very little or no control over.
Right.
And then all of a sudden we've got anorexia and bulimia, and people making jokes about that too. And it's like, I look back at it now and I do cringe, and I see things that are funny and that I love, but then they'll go in for a cheap fat joke, and it's like, that's really not necessary. There's a lot of other ways you can be funny without, making fun of. And I guess it depends on, where on the pecking order you are in the world of things. If they're making fun of you, all the stereotypes.
Well, I used to like really, really sick humor.
Yeah.
And there's just because of the way the world has changed, not necessarily because everybody's become more sensitive, but just because I've seen so much more.
Yeah.
that the sicker humor is not as funny to me anymore.
Right. No.
Because it just seems more serious now.
Right.
But everything seems more serious.
Everything seems more serious.
Yeah.
So that's why I hope that Falcom Hall, which came out last year from Britain, and the new Naked Gun with Liam Neeson, I hope that we're getting back to just laughing at absurdist humor.
Well, while we're on that subject of things that are unacceptable, I want to bring up a movie that I'm sure nobody else likes that I thought was funny, which is Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo.
I've just kind of written Rob Schneider off.
Well, I mean, I've written him off now too, but it's like back when he started making movies, and critics hated him. I think everybody else hated him. That movie is so wrong that I think
just
it's
starring
hilarious.
Rob Schneider is so wrong.
But there was something about him. He's such a
he's
weaselly
a
guy.
comedian. For people who don't know him, because a lot of people probably don't know him now. He was kind of in the Adam Sandler circle of people.
Yeah.
He was on SNL, wasn't
Yeah, he was on SNL.
Yeah.
But he's one of those guys that it's kind of one note. But the fact that he is this unattractive, goofy guy that is just like he could not possibly be a male prostitute.
Right.
And
No, by no stretch.
and of course the women that are hiring him are people who are not going to be able to get dates any other way.
Right.
For various reasons. And I thought it was the lowest brow humor you could have, but was funny.
And you still like it.
Last time I saw pieces of it, I mean, it's cringy in places. I mean, we're just...
Everything is.
Yeah. But one of the women he dates has the condition just went out of my head. You speak uncontrollably, say uncontrollable things. Tourette's syndrome. And it's got a lot of heart, actually. I mean, it's sympathetic, it's sweet, but I think people who had Tourette's could probably laugh at this.
Right. Yeah, and that that's something. Again, that was one of those things like fat jokes or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that let's make fun of this? It's hilarious, and then you don't think about it, and you don't think. But it's like, how far do you want to react to every single thing that might offend anybody?
Well, that's one of the things that we do right now is everybody gets offended on behalf of somebody else.
Yeah.
Rather than finding out if it's really offensive to those people.
Right. You're right.
And
You're
it's
100% right.
To me, it's so much of it is, I've gone through a hell of a lot of things in my life, and it's like you've got to be able to have some humor to get through it.
Yeah.
And if you've got a condition, if you're just so worried about it without being able to see the humor, then it's going to make it worse.
Right. Well, I think other people are real quick to condemn others to avoid getting condemned themselves. Yeah. If you're on the leading edge of finding offense, then no one's going to question you, maybe. But
claim the moral high ground.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we all can step back and think about things we think are funny and maybe analyze whether it's cheap shot humor or actually legitimately funny humor.
Right.
You remember that scene? You recommended the show The English Teacher.
Yeah.
And there's a girl in class in one of those that she develops asymptomatic Tourette syndrome.
Yeah.
You just and everybody's like, have sympathy for her. They call it.
Yeah, the teacher's like, what are you talking about? Like, you seem to be that's offensive, They're offended that he doesn't understand how you can have symptom-free condition.
Right. Well, another one that most people didn't think was funny that I thought was funny was Joe Dirt.
Yeah. I don't think I ever saw that one.
Yeah,
and
I'm not a big. That's David Spade.
I think David Spade's generally pretty funny.
Yeah, I do too. And I like David Spade has a kind of a. You talked about Martin Mull. He has that kind of the same kind of thing where it's like, I'm a little smarter than you, I think,
right,
but maybe not really.
Right.
And I just find it funny. I find that kind of swarminess that's just like.
So he's like a southern like. I don't get it. I know he has a mullet.
Well, he's like this guy. He's like working as a cleaning guy in a radio studio, and I can't think of the fellow who plays the late night radio host guy, but has him into talk, and he starts telling this story. And his story is he wound up abandoned, and the little kid from Malcolm in the Middle, something Per Sullivan, played the little Joe Dirt.
Right. Also with a mullet.
Also has a mullet.
Yeah, well, and the mullet is like a piece of shag carpet or something that was, grows into his scalp. But it's just more absurd and crazy. And he goes back he's trying to find where he comes from, find his parents, and he runs into a girl that he decides might be his sister, but they still have sex. It's so unacceptable. but just so absurd that's really funny. And even Kid Rock is funny in it.
Right.
And
Wow.
Kid Rock is a guy that I do not like.
Unintentionally or intentionally?
Intentionally. Funny? I mean, he's playing it straight and funny because he's playing it straight.
Okay.
But yeah.
There's an absurdist one we skipped that I want to go back to. 81, Student Bodies. It didn't have a big cast like these others do, but it was a spoof of one of the first spoof of horror films, which eventually became what Scary Movie was about. But in 81, we'd already seen a round of Halloween movies and Friday the 13th movies. So this made fun of that with again, I don't recognize any of the names from the cast, but it had just great humor and like the killer was this heavy breather who always, I guess he had like emphysema or something maybe, and he killed someone with a paper clip. But one of the funniest scenes I thought from it was in the beginning, a babysitter and her boyfriend are killed. And then the couple that hired them comes home, and the woman walks in, and you hear from outside the house, you hear her screaming, and it cuts inside, and she's in the kitchen looking at dirty dishes in the sink, and she's going, "What's going on in my house? It's 75 cents an hour." And then it cuts outside again, and cuts back in. She screams again, and it cuts inside, and she sees gum on the stairs, and she goes, "What's going on in my house? It's 75 cents an hour." And then when she finally comes up to the bedroom and she comes across the bodies, she just goes, "Huh, what do you know?"
I can't believe anyone would babysit for 75 cents an hour.
Well, and the funny part of that, too, is that at the funeral of this babysitter, she shows up, the woman who had hired her, and she said, "Here's her fee." And she gives it to, I guess, the mom or dad. And she says, 65 cents an hour. She definitely
She's weaseled 10 cents
yeah,
out.
and she goes, and cab fare, one way, of course. So,
Oh, man.
but it was ridiculous. And then as the 80s wore on, there started to be a trend of movies that were, plot bound, good movies with good cast and everything, but just had so much absurdity in it, goofiness and everything. And one of the first ones I remember from that was Clue in 1985. Right. This had like a killer cast. Joke intended, including Tim Curry, Madeline Kahn, Leslie Ann Warren, Eileen Brennan, Martin Mull, Christopher Lloyd, Michael McKean.
Wow, that's a cast.
Yeah, and they're playing the 6 characters from the board game Clue, plus Tim Curry is like the butler who's like running things. And anyone else in the movie is killed. Just spoiler alert. So the maid and the chef and all those people, they're not long for it.
They're like the Star Trek people with the red shirts on.
Yeah.
They're gonna die.
Pretty much. Yeah, they're going to die. And Jade Wheatland has a great little cameo. She was the guitarist for the Go-Go's. And she shows up. She's the singing telegram gal. And she just shows up. They open the door. She goes, "I am your singing telegram." And the gun goes right in her face and blows her away. So.
She's so sweet. She's a little pixie.
Yeah, she would never do anything. Then more movies that were, again, plot-based we talked about beforehand. We talked about Heathers from 1989.
I love that. Yeah, and it's not stupid.
No, it's not. It's very smart. It's about just, the erosion of society and everything, because there's this basically, I don't know, a serial killer, but a psycho kind of kid who comes into the school, played by Christian Slater. So, he can play crazy easily. Oh, yeah. And he and Winona Ryder, who's a girl, she plays Veronica in the movie, and all of her friends are named Heather. And these two team up, and he kind of corrupts her so that they start plotting deaths and everything of kids they go to school with. But it's hilarious.
Yeah, it is funny.
And the people that die, they have these crazy, hilarious deaths, and I don't know. And like one of them comes back from the dead at another funeral, I believe it was, and she goes, she goes, "My afterlife is so boring. If I have to sing Kumbaya one more time." And anyway.
Well, it was. I mean, that was very controversial when it came out.
It was.
A lot of people were.
It was because it was making, and it's again, we've circled back around. That was before like mass killings and everything, and there was a big, bomb at the end, and It was intended to be like a big mass killing. Well, but it was so absurd that Winona Ryder knew it was coming, and she put an unlit cigarette in her mouth and let the explosion light her cigarette.
Well, it's funny because I remember liking Rock and Roll High School a whole lot when it came out, which has the
PJ
Ramones
Souls
in it. PJ Souls, and she's cute as she can be. But that's the thing, is they destroy the high school at the end of that movie.
Right.
And there's all sorts of jokes that, I mean, there's like the classic kid trying to lose his virginity plot going with it. It's like, as much as I love that movie when I first saw it, nothing works now.
Right.
It's just not funny now.
Well, and as far as like killings in school and mass killings, it wasn't that they weren't necessarily that controversial back then because,
they just weren't, they never happened.
Right.
Yeah.
But now it's like, wow, you can't just go into a school and have students killing each other,
Oh, you can't do that, Chuck.
No one worried about that in the 80s, but now it's like, oh, no, we don't want to
back
do
in
that.
the good old days, you could.
You shouldn't do that. That's wrong.
Well, but yeah, that was the thing is back then it seemed absurd. All this stuff seemed absurd.
Well, speaking of losing your virginity, I'm just going to reference most of the Judd Apatow movies, including the 40-Year-Old Virgin with Steve Carell.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's just hilarious. And Jane Lynch is in that, and she's
always great.
She's funny and everything. But there's also Superbad and Knocked Up with Katherine Hagel and Seth Rogen. It's really funny. So yeah.
Yeah, well, see, to me, these are a different category from what I was thinking about because
Right.
they're so well made.
They are smart
Right.
too, but
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like those movies, it's like I think the humor in those movies will last a lot longer than some of the humor that we've talked about.
Yeah. Well, I've got more of those too. Like kind of when we got into the 90s. Well, starting with Heathers, I think you started having really smart and absurd movies that were kind of a cross up between comedy and horror and just weirdness. And one of those was a Soap Dish in '91. That was Sally Field and Kevin Kline led the cast, and it was all about making a soap opera, and everybody in it was dysfunctional. It had Robert Downey Jr. was in it. He was great. Whoopi Goldberg, Elizabeth Shue. But it was ridiculous. And Sally Field was ridiculous. And everybody was so fragile in the movie. And then in '92, with classic Death Becomes Her with Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn and Bruce Willis. That one I thought was just amazing. Not mainly, but because of Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn. They play these two rival friends. And it is a great movie. But it got absurd because, one, they were dead. I mean, they take a potion so that they achieve immortality, but technically they're also dead. And at one point, Goldie Hawn and Bruce Willis are plotting to kill Meryl Streep. Bruce Willis's character has married Meryl Streep, but he's unhappy and he's becoming an alcoholic. And he pushes her down the stairs, which wasn't the plan. That wasn't the plan, because the first thing he does, he runs and calls Goldie Hawn, and she goes, "This wasn't the plan. You weren't supposed to do that." She said, "You called me first. You called me before calling the police." And so she's chastising him, and he's on the phone. He goes, "Yeah, but she's dead, and we're free." You can see Meryl Streep standing up in the background. Her head has been turned all the way around, and she's walking, and she's like, she's trying to walk, and her arms are turned the wrong way because her head had been twisted all the way around. And she's looking down, and she goes, "My ass, I can see my ass," And then he freaks out because she's alive. But this is Meryl Streep, and like great acting.
she can do anything.
She can do anything, and it just gets more and more ridiculous. It has they blow a hole in Goldie Hawn. She shoots Goldie Hawn, and she just has a big hole in her dress, and she gets blown into a fountain. She stands up, and all the water pours out. And she says something like, "Well, that was what was it? That was completely unacceptable," or something like that. So it's. I don't know. It's absurd, but it's also well made. It's also got a big cast and a great cast.
Well, on a slightly connecting to that, there's a movie I love called The Brain That Wouldn't Die.
Okay.
Which was not meant to, it was meant to be a horror film, but it's so campy that it's honestly, I think they must have known that it was going to be funny to some extent. But
when did this come out?
1962.
Okay.
And doesn't have anybody you're going to know from it. It's
okay.
Super cheap. It's, one of like a B picture. This is sort of a Z picture.
Right.
And the whole movie is a mad scientist who his wife has been decapitated in a car wreck, but he keeps her head alive.
Right.
And she's like on this tray in his lab, and he's searching for an appropriate body for her.
Oh, wow.
So he's going to kill somebody and put her head on that body. But he also has, behind the door, an earlier experiment that is always trying to get out. And what is so great about it is it's not his wife, it's his girlfriend, but she is, and she's causing trouble the whole time, and eventually coaxing the experiment that's behind the door to get somebody.
It's the brain that wouldn't die.
It's the brain that wouldn't die, and it is absolutely wonderful. If you're watching, it's one of those things where you think, "Oh, this is so stupid, I'm not going to enjoy it," and it's funny. I mean, it's fun and unintentionally funny all the way through it.
When's it from?
1962.
Oh, wow.
But most of it is this woman's head on a table. And she is basically calling the shots.
Okay.
I think so. We have alluded to, but I think we may need to make mention of Mel Brooks movies.
Yes.
Obviously, Blazing Saddles, we talked about that, and it's just so politically incorrect. It could never get made today.
Right.
But then there's also Young Frankenstein, which is just comedic genius. It's so funny. And then when you get into really stupid, you get into Spaceballs, which is the send-up of Star Wars, Star Trek, and like Rick Moranis is, instead of Darth Vader, he's Dark Helmet.
Yep.
He's got a huge, gigantic helmet on. It's just stupid humor, but it's really funny.
And again, these are parodies, and you just don't see a whole lot of parodies anymore.
Right.
But
yeah.
just the running jokes all through Young Frankenstein. It's like every time they mention Herr Fluker, the horses rear up somewhere in the background. And,
for no reason.
Yeah, and Marty Feldman, who plays Igor, not Igor, Igor.
Right.
And he's got just those big old bug eyes, and he comes in, "I've got a brain for you." And he said, who was this? And her name was Abby Normal.
And his hump moves from side to side. He's got a hunchback character.
Yeah, it's really hilarious.
Yeah, and,
It's smart.
It's worth noting that Aerosmith's Walk This Way was inspired by Young Frankenstein.
Really?
Yeah, because there's one of the lines it says, "Walk this way," and they imitate the way the guy's walking.
Instead of walking that way.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a classic joke.
I don't know how you all felt about Dumb and Dumber.
I love Dumb and Dumber.
That was the Farrelly brothers.
Right, and it's dumb and dumber.
Yeah, it is. It's really Dumb and Dumber.
And it's Jeff...
Daniels.
Yes,
Jeff Daniels, who normally is not just stupid.
No.
Right.
He plays smart parts.
And honestly, when you've got a movie that part of the climax of this movie is Jeff Daniels having taken Turbolax laxative.
My mom and I saw that movie together, and that started happening. I thought, oh, no. And Mom laughed and laughed, and both of us just started laughing. We were crying. We couldn't even control his laxative scene.
Yeah.
Jeff Daniels on the toilet making the faces, and it's so absurd.
And that's the thing, is you're watching that and you're just thinking, this should not be as funny as it is.
Right.
It is so crude and so stupid that but it's hilarious.
Well, and think about Farrelly Brothers. You also have to bring up something about Mary with Cameron Diaz.
Oh my gosh,
Ben Stiller and Cameron Diaz is like Matt Dillon. Yeah,
he says, "I'm an architect down in Rio."
Yeah, we can't do that now.
I know. It's all.
But Matt Dillon, I mean, that's when I just decided, man, this guy is a great actor.
He can do anything.
So funny.
Well, Ben Stiller, of course, he was going to go to the prom with Cameron Diaz. And he has a problem with his zipper, and he screams
Flanks
out.
and beans.
Yes, and then when it cuts away, and it cuts back to him, and you got like paramedics running him out on a stretcher, and the guy goes, "We got a bleeder." And then, of course, that's also the famous hair gel scene.
Yeah. Oh my God!
Cameron Diaz believes she's got hair gel, and she does this.
I went to see that with my late wife, and I think she was embarrassed at how hard I was laughing, because I could not stop. Other people were laughing, and it's like everything in that movie hit with me.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Richman is the Greek chorus who stands up and starts singing things. And
right. Yeah.
Well, and he's kind of throughout the movie.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
on
the roving.
Sidewalk. Yeah.
It's like the troubadour in the Gilmore Girls.
Right.
It's just somebody wandering through the scenes, singing a song.
Yeah. But, man, I think Dumb and Dumber is hilarious. I mean, Jim Carrey is one of those characters that...
He can do anything, too.
But sometimes he misses really bad. But when he hits...
Yeah.
I think Ace Ventura is funny.
Oh, I do too, but that's another example of one that is just not acceptable anymore at all.
Yeah.
And there was The Mask. My favorite part of The Mask was when the dog had the mask.
Yeah, that is the funniest part. But Cameron Diaz is in that.
Yes, she is. That was, I think, her first movie.
Was it? Well,
I think so.
She was really good at it.
Yeah, she really got everyone's attention.
But yeah, it's funny. It's Jim Carrey. So many of the things he did early on don't pass the purity test anymore.
No. Well, a lot of things,
Oh, tons.
I got dumber movies that aren't as big things, but do you remember Road Trip? It was Breckenmeyer, Sean William Scott, Amy Smart, DJ Qualls, and Tom Green. Remember Tom Green?
I remember Tom Green. I don't think I ever saw that one.
Well, this is where Breckenmeyer, who he stars in this and the next one I'm going to mention, Rat Race, he accidentally sends a sex tape to his girlfriend in Texas, and they're all going to go intervene to stop it. DJ Qualls. It was really weird, and the director was Todd Phillips, who would go on to do The Hangover.
Yeah.
And then Rat Race. Rat Race is actually based on, it's a mad world, 63 movie.
Yeah, it wasn't Jerry Lewis. It was an all-star cast with all sorts of
this is just a huge ensemble cast, but it was so stupid. There was all these people who could use the money, were in a scavenger hunt, and they're going from place to place trying to get money, and you had everyone from Rowan Atkinson, who's like Mr. Bean. Yeah, he's like this guy who he's a narcoleptic, so he's one of the first ones to the finish line. But then he falls asleep putting the key in the box that you got to do. But one of my favorite, I don't know if you remember it, but it was Whoopi Goldberg was in this with another woman playing her daughter. And they were trying to find their way somewhere, and there was a woman who had a squirrel, and she was like trying to give them directions and trying to sell them a squirrel. And they're like, "We don't want a squirrel. We don't want a squirrel." And so she gives them directions, and they run off the road. And when they run off the road, there are these signs that says, "You should have bought a squirrel." And then they like go off a cliff. But it's just like just crazy, a lot of frenetic energy and everything, and probably not something you'd be proud to say you loved. But I don't know. And go ahead.
I'm going to bring up one that's just foundational to my childhood humor, and that's Smokey and the Bandit.
Okay.
I tell you who's really funny in that is Jerry Reed. He plays Snowman. Yeah. So the plot is that this is back before Coors beer you couldn't get it east of the Mississippi River. And so Burt Reynolds drives this Trans Am to run fast and attract all the police, so that Jerry Reed's driving the tractor trailer full of Coors that they've gotten and they're bringing back to, I don't know where, somewhere in the South. And but Jerry Reed is hilarious in it.
Oh, that was when Coors had like this mystique in the South because it was they didn't sell it west of the Rockies or something, or east of the Rockies.
Yeah. And it has Paul Williams in a small role.
Oh yeah, well, small role. He's big. He's little Enos Burdett.
Yep, he is.
Did you all like Super Troopers? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I liked
2001, 2002.
What's the comedy group that they're from?
Broken Lizard.
Yeah.
I think they're a Canadian group, maybe. But they're playing Vermont Troopers. They play jokes and tricks on each other and on motorists and everything. And there's some plot about some drug trafficking, something or another that they're trying to solve. But it's just all goofy and stupid humor. That kind of led, like, later in 2002, Jackass came out. Of course, Jackass was based on the TV show on MTV starring Johnny Knoxville, who is actually from Johnny Knoxville.
PJ Clapp.
We know him as PJ Clapp here. And they just did all of these stunts. And it was stupid for the sake of being stupid because all the stunts were ridiculous. Like PJ's in a catapult. He gets flipped over in a golf cart. They all get hurt, and they all laugh all the time. They did several movies, and it's like, I could watch that and think, this isn't funny, and it's stupid, and it's dangerous, and you don't want your kids doing that. But, oh, my God, So I keep telling myself this is wrong. I shouldn't like it. So that's how I knew it was okay for me.
I think people tend to look at the Coen brothers and look at, really serious art that they've made, and they have made some really, really deep, but they've also made some really funny, kind of stupid movies. One that I think always gets overlooked, and it's one of my favorite movies of theirs, is called Intolerable Cruelty. Yeah. And it's George Clooney and Catherine Zeta-Jones. And it is, what's his name? Anyway, it's really, really funny. But also they've got Bad Santa which is really
Yeah,
funny.
No,
that's great.
that's not the Coen brothers. That's actually Terry Swagoff.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, I know Big Lebowski is the Coen brothers.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And that one gets quoted all the time. They're not stupid, but they're just this kind of zany comedy.
Well, the one that I like by the Coen brothers that everybody hated, all the critics hated, is The Lady Killers.
I don't think I ever saw that
It
one.
was Tom Hanks. It's a remake of an Ealing Studios movie from the 50s, like 1955, that had Alec Guinness. And in the remake that they made, it has Tom Hanks as the Alec Guinness character.
Okay.
And these are people who are trying to rob a bank, and they're boarding, or he's boarding, with an old lady. And in the original, it's in London, or someplace in England. And in the remake with the Coen brothers, it's in New Orleans. And it's got J.K. Simmons in it. It's got
great.
Marlon Wayans in it. And these are all the guys that are going to rob this place, but they are pretending to be like classical music ensemble. And it's funny. Critics hated it. Audiences apparently hated it. I think it's really funny. It's not as good as the original, but it's really good. I think Tom Hanks is really funny doing this.
another one of those ensemble movies. I don't know if you saw it. 2004 Euro Trip. It's about these high schoolers. They've just graduated from high school, and they're going to go to college. And one of them has been online pen pals with someone they thought was a German guy. And then the German guy starts flirting with him. And then a friend of his says, so he fires back at him some nasty stuff and everything and blocks him. And then his friend says, no, the name is Mika. That's a girl. And then they look her up, and she's this beautiful German girl, and he just gotten offended by her. So they go to Europe. There are like 5 of them that go to Europe together, and they come across a nudist and a sexual predator, and they get strung out on absinthe. And there's these twins. One's a girl, one's a boy. And they're with the group, and Michelle Trachtenberg, who's passed away, she's the girl. They get really strung out on absinthe, and they're both sexually repressed, and they don't recognize each other anymore. So the twins start making out, and the rest of them are just standing there watching them, and one of them says, worst twins ever.
This isn't the one with Kieran Culkin in it.
No, I don't think so.
I think you recommended a movie, something that had a name.
Oh yeah,
similar
that was a
where they go over to Germany.
Yeah,
but it ends up being kind of profound because they go to They go to a concentration camp.
Yeah, and it was what's his name? The Jesse Eisenberg was in it. He was like the straight man in it. Mean Girls is really just wonderfully done, but it just had its moments that were so stupid, like Amanda Seyfried, how she could tell the weather. Do you remember that?
I remember that part.
Well, anyway, I won't spend too much on that because it was just a great movie. You don't have to feel guilty for liking it. Shaun of the Dead, also from 2004.
Mm. That's smart too.
Huh?
It's pretty smart too, even though it's got a lot of
It
stupid humor.
is, but it just had you have Simon Pegg, who wrote the movie. I don't think he directed it, and then Nick Frost plays his friend.
Right.
And it's a zombie apocalypse in London, I believe it was.
Right.
And the first zombie shows up in their backyard, and they're laughing at this young woman, and they just think, oh man, she's so drunk, look at her, she can barely walk. They start throwing CDs at her and everything, and they were taking pictures of her, and there's just so many scenes where it just goes off script for any kind of zombie movie because it's just absurd. And
did you see by Simon Pegg also Hot Fuzz?
Yeah, that was
one's
also
really
good.
funny. I love the way the scene's just like fast cut from one thing to another. Just
yeah.
It's really funny. Like when he gets in the car, it's like you see the door close, you see the gear shift going, you see the wheel peel out.
This is a little more, maybe y'all don't like this, but Borat from 2006.
I love Borat.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's uncomfortable to watch.
It's very uncomfortable to watch. So Sacha Baron Cohen plays a journalist from Kazakhstan.
So the Kazakhstanic people
Right.
really hated this movie.
So it's supposed to be a mockumentary about his character who is a journalist from Kazakhstan, who's come to America to do a documentary on Americans. And the beauty of this is there's so much unscripted parts in this movie because he just goes up. He's a character, but he goes up and talks to real people.
Right.
And they capture the real people's
and
reactions.
they capture the
And
real
some of them
people.
sued him afterwards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can see why.
Yeah, because they make themselves look pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, Ron Paul's in it.
Oh, yeah. Well,
And Todd Phillips, the Hangover guy, he was supposed to direct, or he was directing, and he quit on Coen because he couldn't work with him. They brought in someone else.
it was. It'll come to me in a minute. The guy that directed it. He always does very edgy stuff.
And did you guys see also from 2006 Sausage Party? It was an animated movie, and it was crazy absurd. It had a lot of great voice characters. It had Seth Rogen and Kristen Wiig, Jonah Hill in it, and they are all playing items for sale at a supermarket,
Right.
and they all have relationship. They all have friends with each other and everything, and they believe in the great beyond, which is where they go after they're bought and consumed. And I don't know. It's kind of like a send up of consumerism and of religion, and in the end, somehow they're all having a big orgy, and that's the part that everybody just completely fell out in when I was watching, because a lot of people didn't know how to take it because it's like it's an R-rated cartoon movie. And go ahead.
I was just saying, I saw the clips for it and didn't think I would think it was funny.
It was just the orgy scene was just sort of like, oh my God, it's all led to that, as orgy scenes go.
What is this movie called?
Sausage Party.
Well, before we get too far away from Borat,
Okay.
I want to mention Bruno.
Yeah.
Because Bruno takes it another step further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because I took, I thought Borat, okay.
Right.
So my 16-year-old middle son
No.
and his
Don't
girlfriend.
talk about that scene because that's going to get us marked explicit.
I'm not going to say exactly what happens, but I'm saying there's a close-up of that scene, or that of a body part.
That's enough. You're
And
going to
it
get us
was-
marked.
I'm amazed that it could manage to get an R.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was too.
But that movie it takes it so far beyond, and I think it's even funnier than Borat.
Yeah.
And even more uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It is.
Certainly.
But
Especially when you've got your kid sitting next to you.
oh my gosh, it was. But
That was like the opening scene too, I think.
Oh, it was in the
real
first.
early.
It was in the first 15 minutes. The opening scene, which we can't talk about either, is almost as shocking.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still think it's hilarious.
Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah, Sacha Baron Cohen is. I think he is at what he does. I think he is brilliant.
And I can see why he's off-putting to people because they watch him making people uncomfortable.
Yeah,
so
and-
that you put yourself in their shoes.
Yeah.
You think, I don't like that guy. He's mean. He's just deliberate. But it's funny.
Oh, it's so funny, and
Is that the one where he goes to a wrestling match?
that is the climax of the movie, and it's like it says it has so much to say because they create a real wrestling match
In Arkansas?
I think it's either Arkansas or Alabama.
I think it's Arkansas because I used to live in
Okay,
Arkansas.
well but they get real wrestling fans there, and it looks like he's going to fight somebody in a wrestling match. And it's his former lover, and they're getting back together. So instead of fighting, he and this guy start kissing and making out and watching the faces.
The faces of the fans.
They,
Oh my
they
God.
thought they were going to get violence, and instead they get these two guys making out, and they lose their mind.
Yeah.
And it is so funny and also kind of sad at the same time because it's like, okay, this is the state of the world here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I thought it was brilliant.
Did you all remember, speaking of Judd Apatow, Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
Oh, yeah.
In
That's
2008.
great.
I
Jason
love that.
Segel.
Jason Segel,
I think he
Mila
wrote that.
Kunis.
Yeah.
He wrote it. Kristen Bell.
Kristen Bell and Russell Brand plays. So Jason Segel is with Kristen Bell at the beginning, and she breaks up with him. So he goes to this resort she likes. What?
But you got to say the beginning. He is breaking down in the beginning when she's breaking up with him. He is totally naked.
Yes.
Totally naked.
Yes.
And you are so uncomfortable
Yeah.
because he's crying.
And you just don't want to see this guy naked.
Oh, he's crying and just in such bad shape. But it's you feel bad because you're laughing.
Yeah.
But I love at the end where, because I think this is what started the whole movie, was that Jason Segel had this puppet show.
Yeah. This is why it's absurd. It's like he wanted to do a puppet show, a rock opera about Dracula as a puppet show.
Yeah, yeah, and it's great.
Yeah.
And I think he had that before the rest of the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was built around that.
Huh.
I just got nothing but. I just love Jason Segel.
Yeah.
He's great.
He's really funny.
He was in the I Love You Man with Paul Rudd, too. That was like a bromance, and where I guess he was the awkward one, and Paul Rudd needed a best man because he didn't really have male friends, so his
Paul Rudd is evergreen, too.
Yeah. His wife to be is encouraging him to go find, so he goes and finds Jason Segel, who becomes like a really clingy, awkward, friend. But it was good. It's about romances. I guess, was that Apatow, too? It seems like it probably was.
What movie were we talking about?
I Love You, Man?
Oh, no.
I don't think I saw that one.
Oh, okay. It was good, too.
Yeah, but again, these are movies that are actually really well made and
well
smart.
done.
Yeah.
They're not stupid.
Too. I want to bring up one that is not that well done. I can't remember who actually directed this one. It's Mystery Man.
Yeah, about the second-rate superheroes.
Second-rate superheroes. Paul's or Ben Stiller is
William
like
H. Macy is the shoveler.
Yeah, everybody has a bad superpower. Ben Stiller's superpower, he's Mr. Furious.
Uncontrollable rage.
He has this anger.
Janine Garofalo is Clytemnestra, so she only gets her powers once a month.
Oh, no. Was that? She's the baby bowler. No, wait.
No, the bowler is someone else.
Which one is that one?
I don't remember, but then William H. Macy,
the shoveler.
He wields a shovel.
This one.
Oh, yeah. It is based on a comic book by Bob Burden, who also had another absurd comic called Flaming Carrot.
Saw that one.
And it's not a movie. It was just a comic book series. But he was, back when you still had quote unquote underground comics. He was an underground comic. But it's also got Paul Rubens his secret superpower is he farts really bad.
What's his name? His character's name?
I can't remember now. But it's
just absurd. It's so funny though.
When did this come out?
1999.
Okay.
And it's one of those things where it's like, it's got periods where it's like, the jokes aren't hitting, and then the jokes do hit, and it's really funny.
Greg Kinnear, like a real superhero.
He's the superhero that's real. That's the bad guy.
Yeah.
So this was a badly made movie. Is that what you're saying?
I think it's
funny, but it's got lots of problems.
It's just slapstick humor.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you're laughing at, but the humor is so stupid for the most part that it's just like you almost feel bad laughing at it, but it's funny.
There is somebody that has a bowling ball.
Baby Bowler. I thought that was Janine Garofalo, but I may be wrong.
No, she's Clytemnestra.
But anyway, Bob Burden is a good comic book artist. I don't know what's happened to him, but around the time that came out, my oldest son, Andrew, was really into that movie, just loved it. So I contacted Bob Burden and got like a figure of the Flaming Carrot, because he was selling, toy figures.
I got some women slapstick movies.
Okay.
I'm sure you remember Bridesmaids from 2011.
Oh, yeah, that was funny.
Great cast.
Maya Rudolph.
Maya Rudolph is the one in the wedding dress in the middle of the street who can't control her bowel movements. She's like running out there. She's got to go to the bathroom. She's going out across the street. She goes, "It's coming. It's coming." And then she just hunches down. She goes, "It came." And then Girls Trip in 2017. That was an all black woman.
That before.
Yeah, and it was Regina Hall, Tiffany Haddish, and Jada Pinkett Smith and Queen Latifah. And there's some plot that they're following where Regina Hall is this well-to-do businesswoman who's got a cheating husband, and but again, absinthe. It seems like whenever you pour the absinthe, they start hallucinating, and then it just gets ridiculous and over the top, and I don't know. I like hallucination absurdity. And Bodies, I also mentioned from 2022. It was a horror film. It's like a more of a Gen Z kind of movie, really. Mainly females. There are two guys in it. and they're playing again. They're out in the woods, and and a storm's coming through or whatever, and blah blah blah. And it's like Mean Girls in a slasher film. That's what I call it, because they're all so biting. All these women have these real tentative friendships and everything. They're always cutting each other down. But the funniest part about it is you find out at the end of the movie, because a lot of them get killed off, and you're not sure who's doing the killing. You find out what started everything at the end in this scene, and it is just so ridiculous and absurd how this killing spree even began. But anyway,
I have to look for that one.
Yeah, I think you'd like that one.
I've got a great cast comedy that is pretty zany, and that's from 1988, and it's A Fish Called Wanda.
Oh, that's a great movie.
With John Cleese. It's like it's kind of Monty Python-ish because it's John Cleese and Michael Palin, but it's also got Kevin Kline and Jamie Lee Curtis, and it is hilarious.
Yeah, that was classic.
Yeah,
again, it was smart.
It was real smart. But Kevin Kline is he's such a great villain. He's
Yeah.
really, really funny in that.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
And Michael Palin just plays this sad sack who continues to get injured, and by the end of the movie, he's got bandages all over him, and he cannot get a win. And it's his fish that everybody's trying to save.
Right.
Well, I want to bring up, when we're talking about stupid movies, of course, you've talked about some things that are just really good movies, but I'm talking about a lot of the Saturday Night Live movies were better than I remembered. I just watched the Coneheads again. It was on TV, and it was my grandson and I were watching it. It's funnier than you remember. Dan Aykroyd and Jane Curtin as people from, I can't remember what the name of the planet they're supposed to be from,
Right.
but they have, of course, giant cones on their heads. And it is funnier now than it was then, because we have so much going on about quote-unquote illegal aliens. And
Right.
that's what these are literally.
Right.
And the folks with...
But they said they were from France.
They were from France. And at the time, it's like, okay, this is a skit that...
How can you make a whole movie out of it?
Exactly.
Right.
But I think it was pretty funny. I laughed harder watching it this time than I did when I saw it for the first time.
Okay.
And another one that everybody hated when it came out is The Ladies' Man, which was Tim Meadows playing a romance advice talk show guy,
right,
who gives really, really bad advice. And he is just such kind of a sleazy character. But they managed to make
toxic masculinity.
Yeah, toxic masculinity all over it. But it's actually, I think, pretty funny. Because, Tim Meadows plays him as a guy who is clueless, but kind of has a good heart underneath it. Yeah. And it's an old-fashioned, dumb comedy.
Okay.
How about this? It's smartly done, but it's really stupid, and that's The Jerk.
Oh, yeah. I love The Jerk.
The Jerk is hilarious.
And it holds up. I watched it not too awful long ago, and it's still funny, and maybe funnier than it was then.
Yeah. And also, it's Steve Martin, The Man with Two Brains, is hilarious and completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Is that the one where he stitched in scenes from old Bête Noire movies? That's
Dead Man Don't Wear Plaid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but this one he invents. He's a neurosurgeon who invents a new technique called the cranial screw top method, where he just screws the top of their brains off, and every time he performs surgery, there's a cat, and he says, "Somebody get that cat out of here."
I want to talk briefly about 2018 Blockers. There are a lot of good teenage movies or teenage-oriented movies. There's one called The Bottoms that came out a couple of years ago. It's about these gals who were like the bottom of the heap at their school and everything, and how they were going to become popular. But Blockers, it stars John Cena, Leslie Mann, and Ike Barinholtz. They're all three parents of three different girls, and they find out that their girls, or who are all friends, have vowed to lose their virginity on prom night. And the three of them, the parents, get involved in all this slapstick, crazy humor, and they're just overreacting, and they want to support their girls and everything, and they want everything to be right for them, but they don't want their daughters to, lose their virginity, and they just get into these absurd situations that are good.
And John Cena's good?
John Cena is good in this.
Huh.
Yeah,
I
all three
like
of
him.
them.
I think he's good.
And, of course, Leslie Mann's funny.
She's
and Ike
hilarious.
Barinholtz, he ends up in a lot of movies. He was on Mad TV, I think.
Huh.
But he's got the gap between his teeth. That's how I always know
okay.
when I see him. But and they're just all funny. They're all kind of supporting each other and trying to figure out how to protect their girls and where their girls are going. They're trying to follow. I don't know if they have their phone tapped or something, so where they can figure out where their girls are, and should they even interfere, and is this the right thing for them to do, and they don't want them to get hurt, and they're just all three neurotic parents, So anyway, and just the more recent movies I've talked about, they're still making funny movies. We talked about Fuck 'em All that came out in 2025. One of Them Days came out in 2025. That was Keke Palmer and SZA. So it was young black women who are trying to raise some money to cover their rent. Dungeons and Dragons, it came out in 2023. I thought I was going to hate it because I don't even know the show, the movie. I don't know the game Dungeons and Dragons. I've never played it before, but when I went, it had a lot of absurdist satire in it that I just wasn't expecting, and I think I ended up liking it more than all the other people because I think the other people were there to see some glorification of Dungeons and Dragons, and instead it was like an absurd movie. Bullet Train, I've talked about that before also, that had Brad Pitt. Lots of absurd, and Bad Bunny was in it. Lots of absurd humor in it, and it was just, everybody, all these killers get on a train in Japan, and they're trying to take each other out. And then Splitsville, that's the last one I'll mention. That came out in 2025. What I loved about it, it's kind of like a millennial comedy. Moving past Judd Apatow and and it's these two couples that are both couples are having trouble, and they're trying to figure out, the fine line of what's better, monogamy or polygamy or whatever, and the fights and arguments that they get into. But it also takes these absurd twists, like this really profoundly long fight scene where they want to kill each other, but at the same time they don't want to break the furniture or anything. So they'll start to do something, and then one will punch the other, and then one will punch him back, and then they both grab knives in the kitchen. They're like, no, they put the knives in. So anyway, there's still a lot of good humor out there, and even in the woke era, and it's, as long as it's absurd, I like it.
I got two from 1978.
Okay.
And this is the first one I thought of when the topic came up.
Okay.
Was Animal House.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's fairly lowbrow humor, but it's got some funny moments in it. And it's John Belushi, Peter Matheson, I think, not Kiefer Sutherland, but his
Donald
dad.
Sutherland?
Donald Sutherland's in
Yeah,
it.
he's in it. He's a professor.
Karen Black. Is that Karen Black?
No.
What's her name? The dark-headed woman.
I can't think, but...
But, I mean, it's got so many great stuff. It's like, I can't believe I threw up in front of Dean Wormer. Face it, you threw up on Dean Wormer.
Yeah. Kevin Bacon is one of the evil
yeah.
ROTC cadets.
Niedermeyer. He's not Niedermeyer, though.
No, he's not Niedermeyer. He's one of the others.
And then there's the one where they're on trial, and Peter Matheson's like, cool down, I'm pre-law, I got this. And he goes, I thought you were pre-med. And he goes, what's the difference?
Yeah, that was based on I subscribed to National Lampoon back then, and it was based on a short story that appeared in National Lampoon. And that's how it came to be.
That would be way unwoke now, wouldn't it? Or
The whole thing.
Yeah, it's got a great soundtrack, though.
Yeah.
And the other one from 78 was Up in Smoke, Cheech and Chong.
Oh, yeah.
I really liked Up in Smoke, and then their next movie, Cheech and Chong's next movie, is even funnier.
Is it?
It's Pee Wee Herman is all over it.
Oh.
But you have to see it uncut because there's a great scene. He's like the hotel clerk where one of them is Cheech is trying to hold up, and he can't get the cops. I mean, of course, he's got this huge bale of marijuana, and he can't get the cops to come out. So this is during the other Iranian crisis from the 70s. And Pee Wee Herman says, I think they're Iranian. And all of a sudden, all the police in the city descend on the hotel. But
I do remember that.
yeah, but it's really, Pee Wee Herman was in 2 of their movies.
Yeah.
Or Paul Rubens, as very similar to his Pee Wee Herman character.
Hey, man, how am I driving? I think you're parked.
I didn't mention Dude, Where's My Car? Because I didn't really think it was that funny.
No, it wasn't that funny. Well, I think we saw that at a sneak preview the same time.
Did we?
They were giving tons of those sneak previews out.
Okay.
Tickets.
I liked it when they found tattoos on each other's backs, and they were reading each other's tattoos. Like, I think it was Dude and Sweet, but that wasn't enough.
Yeah.
That wasn't enough to save it.
No.
We got any recommendations and reservations about your recommendations?
I have reservations.
Well, I want to recommend, let's go with music first. I want to recommend 1970 album called Phil Oakes' Greatest Hits. Phil Oakes was a folk singer at the same time in the same group of people that Bob Dylan and Eric Anderson and Tom Paxton, all these folks, Joan Baez, all that crowd in Greenwich Village. And Phil was very, very political. He killed himself in the mid-'70s. He hung himself. But his last studio album was called Phil Oakes' Greatest Hits, and the title was a joke because Phil didn't have any greatest hits. But he was on...
Not even one.
Not even... I mean,
we were talking about the one-hit wonders with greatest hits collections.
Well, a lot of people recorded his song There But For Fortune and Draft Dodger Rag and different things that he wrote. Change is another one that was really popular. But he stayed political longer than some of the others did. But this album is when he got back to exploring his rock and roll roots, the stuff he fell in love with when he was a kid in the 50s. And he's on the cover in a gold lame suit like Elvis. And you turn the album over and it says 50 Phil Oakes fans can't be wrong, as opposed to 50 million Elvis fans can't be wrong.
Which was a famous Elvis album.
Right. But his songs, these are songs that are country and rock and roll, and I think it's his best album. His stuff got very deep here in this era, and nobody got it at the time. It had a great cast of people playing on it. Ry Cooder's playing on it. Van Dyke Parks was arranging. And it's just one of those things where I listen to it and I think, if this guy had lived, if people had appreciated it just enough for him to keep making this kind of music, I think he would have had a whole different career. Yeah. But Phil Oakes is terrific. If you've never heard his stuff, Pleasure of the Harbor is another great album. And most of his stuff is good, but I think Phil Oakes' Greatest Hits is his best.
Okay.
I remember when I used to play music on your late night show, and you would always say, there's some listener in like Egypt or...
Oh, it's Mark in Israel who loved Phil Oakes.
And you'd say he's always listening because it's 9 o'clock in the morning there, and he always requests Phil Oakes.
Yeah, Mark Linton over in Israel, and he was a transplant from I think maybe Detroit. He moved to Israel. He wanted to be in a place where everybody was Jewish for a while, and he went up staying there and was worked in a kibbutz. He was the accountant for the kibbutz.
All right, John.
Yes, I just discovered this band yesterday. I just had Apple Music on just John's radio station, and whenever something comes on, then I'm like, wait, what is that? And I'll check it out, and it's a band called the Silverbacks, and I first thought it was Pavement, because the singer sounds a lot like Stephen Malkmus, and I've been listening to a lot of Stephen Malkmus and Pavement lately, so I just thought, oh, this is just some band Stephen Malkmus was in, but it's not. It's two brothers from Dublin, Daniel and Killian O'Kelly, and they both play guitar, and then they've got a backing band, rhythm section behind them. It's just two guitars, bass, drums. But it's really great guitar interplay. It kind of reminds me at times of like Television, but it also kind of reminds me of Gang of Four, kind of clashy, abrasive sounding guitars, but there's melody in there too. It's really good. I've really enjoyed it all day yesterday. And one of my favorite things to have happen is when I discover a new band and like them, and then look at their discography, and they've got like 5 or 6 albums. I'm like, oh man, I got a whole bunch of good listening to go. And so they've got like 5 albums.
Cool.
And their latest one is from 23. So they're still, I don't know if they're still playing now, but that's only 3 years ago. But anyway, they're called the Silverbacks. The
Silverbacks from Ireland. Awesome. So a couple of episodes ago, we were going through our record collections, which we do periodically, and I was going through some CDs. And I saw an album cover that as soon as I looked at it, I thought, oh, my God, I love this CD, but I don't know why. And I don't know any of the songs on it. And it was the name of the group was Amelia, and the album was After All. And it came out in 2004, and I loved it, but I wasn't sure why because it's been thousands and thousands of album reviews ago, So I sat down and listened to it, and I was thinking, oh, okay, they're from Portland, Oregon. And they kind of got this sort of indie rock, jazzy, kind of real mellow sort of vibe, kind of Americana. and kind of timeless. And I was listening. There was good songs. One called their lead singer is Tisha Helgerson, and they had a song called "Better Than Sleeping Alone," which was this bittersweet song. They've got one in French called "Et vous," and she's perfect with her French pronunciation. All But the Sea, which is kind of a dreamy, wistful song, and this swaggering kind of happy after all, which is kind of indicating, and I guess that's where they get the title after all. I guess it's kind of indicating a happy ending. But the one song that I heard, The Last Pariah, as soon as I started, I remembered that song vividly, and it was a song that when I first heard it, I loved it. It's just so... it's a melancholy song. It's a real simple, stripped-down song. And she's talking about feeling like the last pariah. It's got some great lyrics. It's written by... They all take turns writing it, but Jesse Emerson in the group, he wrote this one. And it's just got this great... I mean, it starts with broken-hearted fools. They're not that much to look at. You can tell them by their sound. Treat them like a doormat. I guess I'll know how it feels. I guess I'll know just how it feels. Then she does another line. I love this. Misery loves gin to wash down all the vodka. I'm really not that well. Feel like the last pariah. And it's just got this heaviness to it, but this simple kind of accepting of her fate and all. But this song... I can't describe it. It's the textures in her voice, and it's her gorgeous delivery, and the gentle band that she's got playing with her. It just really just swept over me from the first time I heard it, and I just listened to it over and over. This was when I was reviewing a lot of albums, and I'd have to listen to another album, and I just want to put theirs back on and, throw out whatever I was listening to. And I don't know how I forgot it, but I'm glad I just discovered it and just saw the picture on the front. The singer, she passed away in 2011. So they're not active anymore. She died of kind of a strange, odd cancer. She was 42 when she passed away. But again, that's the name of the group is Amelia, and the name of the album is After All, and it's on Spotify. And the track that I love so much is called The Last Pariah.
There's a lot. I went looking for this, and there are a lot of artists out there named Amelia, and it took me a while. And the thing that thing that got me to that album that you're recommending is looking up The Last Pariah.
Okay, cool.
So if you're having trouble finding it, look up that.
Yeah, and they're from Portland, Oregon, so you can check for that. And this album came out in 2004, so those are 3 pointers that can help you find this band.
Well, I'm not exactly going to recommend this movie that I
We've been there
on Netflix. I'm going to recommend Sally Field's performance because Sally Field is great in this movie. It's called Remarkably Bright Creatures. It's about a woman who is a cleaning lady at an aquarium, and it is somewhat narrated by the octopus that she is taking care of.
Yeah. And the octopus has such wisdom.
Yeah. And it's
at least I read the book. I haven't seen the movie.
Well, this is one of the things I wanted to have you weigh in on because Sarah had read the book, and that's why we watched the movie. And she was telling me the differences in the book, and I probably would have liked the movie had those differences in the book been in there.
I think that is a sentiment that would let my wife has watched the movie just like 2 days ago. I mean, it's only been out for a couple of days.
Yeah.
But she said the same thing. She said there's some details in it that are different.
They wrap it up. It's too neat. It's too convenient. This is directed by Olivia Newman. It's the same woman who directed Where the Crawdads Sing, which I liked better than most people did.
I read that book, but I don't think I saw the movie.
Well, I thought the movie was pretty good. I don't know the difference in that one. But in this, after we finished it, I felt like this is a real Hallmark movie. It's just... It just wraps everything up so neat, and it's supposed to be so heartwarming. And it's just like, when things do that, it pisses me off.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, really? You're going to have to make this so... The magic of that, I think, probably would have been seeing everything through the eyes of the octopus.
Yeah.
Where you don't. And I don't want to give away anything, but everything wraps up. And that is just exhausting for me. I want it to be...
There could be a loose end here and there.
Exactly. There should be a little bit more...
Because life is like that.
Yeah. Life's more
never
ambiguous.
wraps up
right.
in a perfect package.
Right. And that's why I just felt like, really? We've sat through 2 hours and you're going to wrap everything up and it's just like, oh, this is so neat and we're supposed to be so effective. It's like, no, I'm not.
They all lived happily ever after.
Right. And that's exactly what it comes off like. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's on Netflix. It's worth watching for Sally Field because Sally Field, now she's an old woman. I remember when she was Gidget and she was a teenager on TV.
And the Flying Nun.
And the Flying Nun's right after Gidget.
Yeah.
But she's a really good actress. And
Yes, she is.
plays a
She's in
curmudgeon.
Soap Dish.
Yeah, and she plays a curmudgeonly old woman really, really well. And I did very much enjoy watching her.
Okay.
Well, I want to recommend, I don't know if this detail needs to be in here, but I had to have my annual colonoscopy at the end of last week. And
Tell us all about it,
That was
John.
on Friday. I'm not going to tell you anything, but Thursday was the prep day, and I couldn't get more than about 10 feet from the bathroom all day long. So I just...
Why did I just think of Maya Rudolph and Bridesmaids?
I was thinking about Jeff Daniels.
Anyway, all that to say that I had a whole day where I had to stay home and close to the bathroom. And so I binge watched the entire first season of the Netflix show Hacks that stars Jean Smart, and she plays Deborah Vance, who is an aging Las Vegas comedian. She's as you learn through the course of the thing, she's a pioneering woman. She was one of the first women. I mean, it's all fiction, but she was one of the first women to ever have a late night talk show. Well, they did a pilot of it, but they never aired it. But she was kind of a pioneer in comedy back in the 60s and 70s. But at present day, they're celebrating her like 2500th performance at her namesake theater in Las Vegas. And at first, that's a big deal to be, have your own theater in Las Vegas. But then they show clips from every night, and she's telling the same jokes the same way every night, and she's just phoning it in. And she's convinced, and she knows, she's been through all kinds of tough situations and just continues to, but she takes the bull by the horns every single time she encounters anything. Anyway, so that's the setup with Jean Smart. And then there's the other side of this is there's a young writer from a television show and that's played by Hannah Einbinder. I'd never seen her before, but I really like her. But she was a writer for a comedy show, really edgy show and she made a comment on social media about some politician and intimated that he was gay, and people fired back and it started a whole flame war, and she's very sassy, and she replied emotionally and said some things that were not kosher, and she ends up getting kicked off the show she's working on because she's just toxic. And so that woman and Deborah Vance, the aging comedian, share the same agent. And so he's trying his best, and his agency is kind of like struggling to stay afloat. And Deborah Vance is his biggest client. He's been with her forever. And then this young girl who had been a rising star, and now she can't find work. So he puts them together against either one of them. The young girl's like, I don't want to write for this old woman. She's just she's the past. And of course, Deborah Vance is like, she's like, I write my own jokes. I've always written my own jokes. And you can they start out, she treats this young girl just horribly. But over the course of the thing, they really grow to like each other. And Deborah Vance is so she finds out that her years and years and years residency at this theater, the owner of the casino is saying, we want to put a new act in on the weekends because we need to appeal to a younger demographic. And she's like, no, the hell not. I've been doing this forever. I own this place. And he's like, no, I own this place. And so he goes, hey, we're going to put this artist in. And so the next scene, it shows her sitting by her pool with her iPad watching a performance of this artist that's supposed to replace her. And she looks at it and she watches it for a minute. And she stands up and just throws her iPad in the pool and says, come on, Marcus, we got to go to the computer store. She just throws it in. She can't stand it. And she doesn't care that it's an iPad and she has to buy a new one. She just has to throw it in the pool. She just takes the bull by the horns every single time. And her and the casino owner go back and forth. It's really worthwhile. And Jean Smart just chews up every scene she's in. She's so good in a bad way. I mean, she seems really angry, but then at times she shows that she has a heart. And she's been through all of it. And I don't know, it's really good. I've only watched the first season, but there's 6 seasons. It started in 21, and it's still going now.
Wow. Okay.
So,
cool.
All right, I'm going to recommend the movie Hokum. It came out May 1st, 2026, so, a month or so ago. It's directed by Damian McCarthy. I'm not familiar with him, and it stars Adam Scott. And this has gotten a lot of, I like him too. It's gotten a lot of buzz and everything, and I was not sure if it really deserves the hype. Still not completely sure, but Adam Scott plays a withdrawn novelist, and he's an anti-hero, and he's on a mission. He's taken the ashes of both of his parents to this remote hotel in Ireland. He's an American, and he's, like I said, he's a novelist, and he's got a kind of a agenda on his mind. And this hotel is really offbeat. Like I say, it's remote. It's a seasonal hotel, old school hotel, and the movie is technically a gothic supernatural horror film or a folk horror film. And Scott is really a kind of an unlikable character. He's very isolated, and he's got his reasons, and they come out. But basically, it's all about this haunted, sealed-off honeymoon suite that they've had closed for years and years at this hotel. And nobody can go in there ever. And it's supposedly haunted by a witch. And there are other characters in the movie who all work at this hotel, so they're all Irish, characters. And so they bring a lot of flavor and character to it. And but it's hard to flesh out the details of the storyline, but it really takes some interesting twists and turns. So I think just in a matter of it being unconventional for this kind of movie, and Adam Scott playing against type for himself, I think it's interesting. So if you like horror films, gothic horror, whatever, you'll probably like it, even if it's I don't want to say it's atmospheric. So a lot of, if you like a horror film that's just bang, 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 it's probably not going to be for you. There are some scares, but it's more just a creepy, doomed kind of atmosphere.
Sounds good to me. That's the sort of, I like the jump scare sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I really like the stuff that's more subtle.
And there's a whole subplot with him that comes out, and that makes it even more interesting, I think.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, thank you for joining us.
From Albania.
Movies. What?
From Albania. No
From
less.
Albania, yes. I don't know how to say anything but hello. But anyway, thank you for joining us wherever you are. And go enjoy your laughs, whatever makes you laugh, again, as long as it's not, particularly
making fun of
cruel.
somebody.
Yeah, let's not be cruel here. Yeah. We can laugh at a lot of other things. And anyway, if you've got any ideas for future topics for us, you can write us at howweheardit@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media on, here we go, Facebook, X, as in Twitter,
TikTok,
YouTube, and Instagram. We're on all those places. We try to have a update about once a week about
what
we've got.
We're on Spotify, aren't we?
No. Yeah, we're on Spotify. We're on Spotify. That's not social media, though. I'm sorry. Those are the platforms.
I'm just trying to list places you can
John,
find
you're messing me up here. This
Apple
is already
Podcasts.
hard. Yeah, so, yes, we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the podcast platforms. But you can find us on social media promoting our shows most weeks. So.
Oh, yeah, and we just got word that we've had 10,000 listens.
Yeah. So
downloads.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Pretty cool,
including the folks from
who'd have thunk that?
Albania. Well, without the help of Albania and Norfolk Island, and some of these other countries. Madagascar. Who knows? We never would have made it. But anyway, thank you, everybody, and we'll be back around next week.
You've been listening to How We Heard It with Chuck Campbell and Wayne Bledsoe, a podcast about music, movies, art, culture, whatever it is that's on their mind. How We Heard It was recorded at the Arbor Studio in Knoxville, Tennessee by me, John Baker. How We Heard It is a Cozy Planet production. If listening to this podcast has given you a burning sensation, then we recommend you sit in a hot tub until your symptoms fade away. If you'd like to reach out to Chuck or Wayne, or even me, you can send an email to howweheardit@gmail.com. So thank you for listening, and come on back and we'll have another episode for you next week.